Thank you for tuning into Natty News Daily weekly, where we cover the latest ongoings in natural bodybuilding. If you see a cool story you think we should cover, please send it our way, and maybe we'll include it in the next episode. And if you like what we're doing and would like to support us, please consider checking out one of our sponsors. Our sponsor, Core Nutritionals, for all your supplement needs. Code Natty News Daily, as well as GymPin. If you want to add weight to the machines in your gym, you're running out of room, check out GymPin. Also, code Natty News Daily. Enjoy the episode.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Natty News Daily Weekly, my segment where we discuss the news of natural bodybuilding across the world. I would say your host as always, James, but Leroy did hijack my segment a couple weeks ago. But as you can see from the vast number of tabs I have open right now, this is going to be a monster of an episode. It's getting to that point of the season where people are lean enough where they want to show off the physique. So let's dive right into it, right? So if you watch my prior segment, prior episode, I like this, right? Tal and Ron here jumping in on the train with Brian and Dirk, showing off two physiques side by side, two bodybuilders kind of doing it together, both great athletes. And I think you're right, Tal. 2024 is the year. I think this is going to be a massive year for natural bodybuilding across all the federations, simply from just the number of high level athletes that are all competing this year. Right. And if you're new to the page, new to the sport, you don't know what I mean. It's very common for athletes to take multiple years off, more common like every other year approach. Some athletes taking multiple years, though, and just the number of high level competitors that are competing in 2024 is just almost astounding, right? Lots of world class champions, lots of prior champions. It's going to get interesting, right? So Tal himself, WMBF Israel, made it to the WMBF World Stage in 2021. Ron, I honestly don't know all that much about, but you can see his tag there. I would say he's someone to follow. Two great athletes right off the bat, and we're just going to keep rolling with it, guys. Because, like I said, a lot of people competing this year. So I want to throw a spotlight to as many as we can. Already having a couple episodes, but we're going to roll right into none other than Kaifi. Kaifi, I always butcher that. I always mess that one up. So my apologies in advance to that one. Look at this transformation. I mean, this is kind of crazy, right? Like when people want to talk genetics, like, yeah, I don't know how old he was in this first photo. Delts were already great, but just the different beast that he has turned himself into. And if you haven't watched his training, please do, because he is an absolute animal when it comes to hinging, and many other things, but just hinging in general always attracts me because, man, he is just pulling some incredible loads, even through a steep deficit, right? So this is a transformation. And then we can see from his other post here recently, updating for Natural Bodybuilding Worldwide, 25 weeks out. So in great shape for 25 weeks. He's going to come peeled. You saw the photo before. Conditioning's not really been an issue. Density's not really been an issue. The dude's won a lot. And he'll be one to watch and see where he competes, if he competes again with a BMBF or who. Yeah. So we'll be kind of paying attention to that prep as well. We got to keep this thing rolling so I can keep the segment moving. Cole Blent, American athlete, 32 years old, and just look at those delts, right? Again, 185, pretty beefy 185, right? I don't know his height, looks to be slightly taller individual, really well filled out physique here. He's got veins coming across everything. Quads are separating there a little bit of cross striations through, vastus medialis, but just the delts in the arms keep, just drawing my eye right in. I mean, those are capped. I would have to imagine he had a nice little push day or delt pump in this photo, but regardless, you're not going to find too many naturals with better delts than that. So props to you, Cole, and we're moving. Dan Sutcliffe, another INBA, PNBA champ, right? Won a lot of titles before, returning to the stage in 2024, right? So doing some in-person check-ins with the coach, getting the ball rolling 17 weeks out, right? So like I said, we're getting to that point in prep where things are going to start getting interesting, especially with the conditioning standard it is now. You're going to start seeing some pretty fun check-in photos from athletes. And then obviously we got to highlight Steve Hall. So coached this year, and I believe for the first time ever coached by Cliff Wilson. So Cliff is handling the nutrition. We all know what that means. He's going to come in even more peeled than what he had before. So we like following Steve, a true beacon for, I wouldn't say education as much, but truly it is education through his platforms and through the experts that he brings onto it, as well as through his own anecdote and understanding of the sport. But we just like him, right? So one to follow. He's put a lot of effort into the symmetry of his physique, put a lot of effort into the posing to modify the silhouette on stage to kind of overcome some of the weak points that he's discussed himself. So we'll see how this one goes for him this year. And then we gotta highlight some of the females here, right? We know we cover too many male athletes. We don't cover the females enough. Wanted to show here, right? So great little comparison. Fasted 129.8. You can see the tag here, right? So this is Cassandra. She has competed OCB Yorton Cup as well as many other shows. And she was already a great athlete. This is a dramatic improvement from the last showing. And she's got a good amount to go, I believe, in prep before she like really hits the stage. So only gonna improve from here. And this level of conditioning already in the female athletes is, on par with the high level pros with time to go. So love the posing. Posing has always been a strong suit of hers, right? Good silhouette there. But yeah, I'm excited to follow this one. And if you follow this for the female athletes, Cassandra is someone to follow. She has been huge, and we interviewed her, and she talked about this. So find that podcast episode as well. Been huge on the health phase of this off season, right? So she had been dealing with a lot of hormonal issues coming out of multiple back-to-back preps and dieting too long, and really focused on like a long-term sustainable bulking phase over the last couple of years. And now we're seeing the benefits of it, right? So you can just scroll right on through. Here's some prior stage shots. Like I said, great physique before, but I believe, those delts, the back, I think everything's come up from this Yorton Cup champ photo, right? So it'll be exciting to see what she brings to the stage. Keeping it going. We showed Steve Macdonald's conditioning last week. Here's just a stupid lean side leg shot, right? So see you in a couple hours, he says. And then a couple hours, he won everything, right? So 3 times Mr. Aberdeen, 3 times classic champ. I don't think anyone would debate that looking at the photos that we shared last week, as well as that side leg shot. Just a ridiculous athlete. So congratulations, Steve. I'm out of breath. Got to keep going. All right, slowing it down a little bit. So for the UK athletes, the international athletes, you might not know Brandon as much because he hasn't competed in a couple years. Brandon Lirio, 3 times PNBA Classic Physique champion, Natural Olympia Classic Physique champion, recently tore his bicep. We hate to see that. Falls into the category of, so Brandon, Chris Elkins just underwent shoulder surgery. Levi Burge underwent shoulder surgery. So a lot of athletes, unfortunately, suffering some pretty dramatic injuries. I won't show you the video of this one. You can go to his page. You can scroll back. It was doing, I believe, a deadlift or a pull on a pit shark, one of the two, and you just see it go. And I hate to see those. But hasn't given up on training. He's staying healthy, staying in shape, just like the other athletes that I mentioned before, right? So keeping the legs going, but there's so many added benefits to training, even when you have an injury. The ability of the body to hold on to muscle mass, even by training the contralateral side, but just for health, mental health, physical health, cardiovascular health, heart health, all that. So I like to see him still train. I hope him the best recovery and a rapid recovery because I would like to see him back on stage. And I might be seeing him actually in September at a show September 28th up in Connecticut. So that's with the INBA, PNBA. And our final of the week. So Daniel, we interviewed him and his posing coaching, all that fun stuff on the podcast recently. I love this post because it is absolutely true. And you see this time and time again. Someone on Instagram posing looks great. The photos are great when they have the time to edit, or they're looking in the camera and they can twist this and twist that and pull this in, tense that. When you're on stage, you don't have any of that, right? So as you get later into prep, you absolutely have to pose without looking in a mirror, without looking in the camera. You need to know tactily, I don't know if that's even a word. You need to be able to feel where you are in space, right? So he talks about having these landmarks, and that's something that you can very easily visualize on yourself. Where are my hands in relation to, my feet? Where's my hip position? All these other little things. So look through the post, read through the post. It gives a lot of tips and tricks, and obviously he does coaching there, right? So front relax, use landmarks to help execute poses correctly, and front relax, the hands ought to be around the level of the navel, right? So these little things, if you understand them, if you take the time to screenshot, look at your photos, observe where you are in space, observe where other things are in relation to you, it's going to help you when you can't actually see in that mirror when you're on stage. So if you guys like this episode, if you like this segment, let me know in the comments, subscribe, like, share, and I will see you guys in the next one.